Hello and welcome to DCP SideQuest episode number 137. We're officially buying Myspace edition of the podcast. We've announced
it was a fantastic deal.
We got a great deal on Myspace. What can I say?
That's right.
True. It's true.
Yeah.
Now that you pay for it, does that mean that you can control who's on your best friends on the side?
No. It's going to be completely open to whoever wants to be friends. Of whatever. Wink, wink.
Yes.
we got some operations to work out, I think.
Mm-hmm. So
how many failed social media platforms have there been? There's like MySpace. Was it Friendster? Man. Was before MySpace? So many. Was that what it was called?
Friendster.
I recognize the name. Yeah, I don't think I've used it. Yeah,
I think that was big in Asia. Friendster.
Oh, okay.
Was it?
Yeah.
There's been so many, but now I can't remember any of them.
Yeah, the landscape keeps evolving and companies get
Well, it's been stagnant now for a while. Like Facebook, Twitter, have been the big two for a while now. Google's been around for a long time now.
Well, Instagram.
Remember when Google was like the startup? It was like the fresh gun. Like, I don't know, do I really want to leave Alta Vista for Google?
Dude, InfoSeek, Alta Vista, obviously there's the Jeeves thing.
Yahoo's been treating me so well. I got my page all set up just how I like it.
Remember Ask Jeeves used to be the default search engine?
I loved Ask Jeeves. Was that cute little waiter? Or I guess butler.
Cute little waiter.
Amazing.
Ask Jeeves is still around. It's just called like ask.com now, I think.
Really?
It'll come up in a suggestion when I like ask a question to
Jeeves was the same as Bing, but maybe not. Maybe Microsoft.
Bing is a different one, and Bing actually isn't that bad, aside from the fact that it's owned by Microsoft, and they're definitely harvesting your data.
Of course. How do you think these companies make ends meet, man?
Do you guys watch that show on HBO with John? What's his name?
Jon Stewart?
No, the other John. He used to be on the Daily Show.
John Oliver. That's what I meant
to
say, but I immediately said Stewart instead, which is wrong.
Jon Stewart has a new show, but it's not.
Yeah, on Apple.
Anyhow, John Oliver did an episode a couple of weeks ago about like how much they're harvesting your data, like how specific they are. So you'll come up on a list, like let's say you have like diabetes, and like somebody does search. Okay, I want people with diabetes in Connecticut over the age of 30 who wear Crocs. Bing!
Really?
Like, there you are, right? And then you can also find people using the same thing because anybody can buy this information, right? Like anybody can buy it, including your government, which definitely has bought it.
Yeah.
So they can find you based on that stuff, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's super fucking creepy, and it's really reinforced my like hatred of all of these services that are harvesting your data constantly. I've switched over to
cold turkey,
whole house VPN. No, I'm just trying to really like lock it down. Like no more Google products whatsoever, except for YouTube, which I have to use,
right?
Because
how about Amazon? You cutting Amazon out?
I cut Amazon out last year. Do you remember I went on this big run about not doing Amazon? Unfortunately, I forgot to cancel my Amazon Prime subscription, so they just dinged me for $140 out of the blue. I was like, God damn it!
No. So you don't buy on Amazon either?
I don't buy anything off of Amazon unless I absolutely have no other choice. Like, I cannot figure out a way to get it any other way.
Wow.
My first thought is buy it local. My second thought is buy it from a website that is run by a person, not a corporation.
Mm-hmm.
Then I'll go. Tefty actually turned me on to Etsy during the Christmas time. I've been buying all my gifts off of Etsy ever since he bought me that Legend of Zelda Triforce thing. I was like, God damn, why don't I buy more stuff off of Etsy? I just bought my wife a pair of earrings off of Etsy that were beautiful. And like some person just made those and then shipped them to me. They're really, really nice. Yeah, I'm trying to get off all of this stuff, but you can only get off it so much.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to an update on this like 6 months from now. Like how the culling of your data online is going, or like at least not propagating more of it online.
Yeah.
Right?
I've been using DuckDuckGo for a few years now instead of Google. But all the cookies are still there. I try and like not do any of the cookies, but some websites make it really hard where they'll put a big window in the middle of the page that says, we're really not stealing all your data. Don't worry about it. Don't you want to just accept all the cookies?
Yeah.
Like, no, you got to hit the other box, and then they'll give you a list of 45 cookies, and you got to click each one.
Oh, yeah.
Wow, that is.
So that's a pain in the ass.
Do you ever miss
Apple
the recommendations though from like, Google?
No, they're all terrible. I'm getting like recommendations for like hentai when I'm like,
hentai. Why are you
they're
getting
all
recommendations for hentai?
Look, there may have been some Google searches. I don't know. I'm sure it's completely
a few purchases here, a few purchases there. Then
look, I feel like that wall art really sets up the whole room.
When you're on the Crocs after hours websites.
Yeah.
Yes.
Crocs hentai. The crossover you wanted.
Crocsалlover.com.
Oh my.
Oh, that's crazy. Eric, where are you at with the Elden Ring? Did you finish it yet?
hey.
Nice.
I mean, I'm at a certain end boss.
Do you think you're ever gonna finish it?
At the moment,
hesitation.
If ever I can stop making videos on it, maybe I might finish fighting the boss.
By the time you're done making videos on it, you're gonna have like the best loadout ever made, right?
Well, in theory, yeah. But you see, here's the problem, right? This is basically been my routine, because at the moment it's like spend all the time making the videos, and then like obviously I do the hyper-specific stuff, so then I don't often have much time to actually play the stuff for myself. So occasionally what happens is like I might finish making a build video on like, here's a really cool, strong new build. Because obviously, going back to what we said like the previous week, I was like, my bleed build has carried me through the entire game apart from for the final boss. So now what I've basically done is every time I make a new video on a new build that's strong, I then go and have a couple of tries against the final boss. I'm like, no, this build isn't going to work here. So like, it's a good build, but I'm like, it's obviously not geared for the final boss. So I'm like, I'll wait till I do my next video, and then I try again. So the other day, I just got like a fancy new big like meaty strength build. I did some good chops on it, and I only gave it a few tries because I was quite tired. I was like, this isn't. Basically, I'm waiting for the build that actually does just one shot the final boss, and then I'll go fight them.
You think you're going to find
but
it?
Until. Maybe not. It'll either be that, or it'll be the incentive where they'll announce like the DLC is coming, and I'll be like, well, now I have better gets it done.
Yeah.
Or, to be fair, I should just play it the old school Dark Souls way, which is stop looking for some way to like just not cheese it, but
Get
stop
good.
looking for like basically just get good. Yeah. Just like the first phase, easy. First guy, no problem at all.
Yeah.
Second one, it's only because I have to do a marathon to get to the boss, and then he goes and teleports. I have to do a marathon again.
Yeah, you got to do a little swish swash and diving around, and then go jog halfway across. I even hit the limits before. I was like, "Whoa, this is the limit. This is weird."
Really?
Yeah, when I was running around.
I started my
like an invisible
more
wall?
recent runs. Really?
Yeah.
I started my more recent runs to try and be like slightly more efficient. So when I do the first phase, I already start running. So by the time it spawns, I'm in front of it. So I'm like, okay, cool, I've nailed that part. But then like that's good for the first bit, and then he goes and swims for a little bit, and I'm like, oh, for goodness sake! And then and then my mimic gets like squashed and stuff. So but I do also feel like because of the way that I've approached it, because like for me up until that point, like I didn't need to progress past that boss because obviously I've got access to the whole map and I can make all the videos and stuff. So unlike all the other bosses that like like Millennia that obviously I tried for like 3 days solid and stuff and finally got that sorted. This one I haven't actually put a proper effort into it. I've kind of gone into the boss and be like, let me try, because most bosses haven't really, I guess maybe because I've been running a bleed build, hadn't really sort of presented too much of a challenge. So I feel like if I actually sit down to properly do it like on a weekend, I think it'll be all right. But
okay, yeah.
At the moment, I'm just like.
Ever since I beat it,
you probably need to. I don't mean to put like a timer on you, but Watts obviously isn't here today, but she has finished the game, and she's gonna come back next week, and she's gonna want to talk about the ending. And we all know we're gonna hear the details.
Okay.
The nitty gritty.
You might wanna the nitty gritty. Watts, by the way, couldn't be here today. She's at home writing her cookbook. Yeah, I believe it's called Cooking with Friends.
That's amazing.
Yeah,
wow.
Can't wait
I can't believe
it.
you would. Wow, Briar, that was a fantastic tee up. I'm proud of you. I'm proud of you, Briar. I really am. Yeah, ever since I beat Elden Ring, I've had this weird. I haven't gone back to it, but I really want to start another character. But I'm like, I should play other games, so I try other games. And I get this emptiness.
I haven't played a single other game since I played Elden Ring, and like obviously, part of that was obviously with like making videos, but also part of it is just like nothing has compelled me to want to play it right now.
It is a problem, man. Like I've that Weird West game, I played some of that, and it's actually a really cool game. It's got some bugs and stuff, but it's a really cool game. But I'm finding myself just being like, maybe I should just go back to playing Elden Ring again. Make a whole new build. I'm like, no. I need to not play this game anymore. I need to wait. Play it on different, wait for my Steam Deck or something. And like,
I'm glad I'm not the only one who felt that way, because like I definitely had like a hangover isn't the right word, but like almost like a postpartum depression, like
yeah.
I was so sad to be done with it. I was so relieved to be done with it because it was taking up so much of my time because I was so hooked on it. But man, it was hard to get back into another game.
Yeah, I'm feeling that right now because I have a lot of great, like I want to finish Horizon Forbidden West. Like it's a great game, right? Like I want to get back into that, and I realized as I was playing it, I think I have to start the game over because I've waited too long. And I need to like get the systems refreshed and all that, and then get back into the habit of it. But
I don't know, man. I would watch a YouTube video about the intro because that like first 8 hours is kind of slow in that game. Like once you get into the open world, it's so much nicer.
No, that's true, but I'm like on a pathway to do something in the open world, and I have no idea what the hell's going on.
That's the whole reason I never finished Witcher 2, because I when I was playing through Witcher 2 before, I paused in the middle of a cave when I was trying to find a key to a door, and then when I came back some like 2 months later, I was like, "What am I doing? Where's this key? How do I do this? I don't know what's going on." I'm done.
Yeah, it's a problem, man. Dropping a game in the middle because some other game comes out. It is like, it can be death to a game as a content creator because like your brain gets all jumbled as to what you're doing.
I mean, even as a not content creator, I feel like that happens.
Yeah.
Games should have, in the same way how like games have got like a flashback feature to record like the last 30 seconds of your clips. They should have a previously on your gaming experience.
Oh man, I 100% agree with you, man. It's like, oh, you haven't played this game in a week? Well, here's what happened, in like the first chapter, the second chapter, especially when you got like an 80-hour game,
Yeah, but also not just to recap like the story, but also like a bespoke for you. Like you were previously running through this cave because you were on this quest here, and this was the thing you're looking for. Like, that would be like same way as if you go to like draw and procreate, you can then be like, I want the time lapse, and just redoes everything. It's like, please. I mean, I appreciate that would take a ton of memory, but please find a way to do that because that would be amazing.
Yeah.
Elden Ring's like minimalist UI was cool, but I can't imagine like stopping that game and coming back to it in 6 months. I would be completely fucking lost, right? It's like, what quest was I working on? Like, where am I supposed to be going? Like, you'd be so lost. Whereas a lot of games have like a log. So you log in and you can just like go to your logbook and like, oh, I just had talked to this person. He said this and pointed me in this direction. Okay, I could just kind of continue on from there.
Yeah. The problem is when you step away from a game and come back to it, you're not even familiar with the interfaces and like the, like the way that they're going about sharing the info for you to how to do stuff. Because you've like, you did those tutorials on how to play the game, and then they're like, yeah, you already know. You're at this part now, and you're like, I played Elden Ring for 100 hours.
You don't realize there's a parry button anymore.
Yeah, I lost all my knowledge of this game because 100 hours of Elden Ring. Damn it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That happened to me with what was it? Hollow Knight. Is I played a ton of Hollow Knight on PC when it first came out, and then I got distracted by another game and I dropped it for a bit. And when I came back to it, I had functionally no idea how to play it anymore because like you've just like lost your abilities, and now you're in the middle of the game where it's much more difficult. So it's like very hard to get back into it. So I ended up buying it again on the Switch and just starting over on the Switch. Which actually ended up being awesome because it's such a good game for the Switch.
That one is especially hard, like those kind of games, because I'm in the same boat when I finally got back to it because I love that game so much, and those games are all about like literally just, build like uncovering the map and obviously learning where things go. Like they don't tell you where you are and things like that. So it is to come back to one of those games after a while is so tough.
Yeah. So we haven't been playing anything else.
Dude, we are. This year is kind of fucked up.
I know.
It's weird.
Okay, everything has already come out, but we're only in May.
Yeah. We're not even in May. We're in April still. May's not even here
I'm
yet.
sorry. You're right.
Yeah.
I jumped the gun.
Briar's a week early.
In the future.
I skipped April.
Early Briar. This is the first evidence clearly showing that Briar's from the future.
Exactly. He's from the future, and he still tells us we've got no games. This is worrying.
I was thinking today about, we have the new PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series X. Like at some point, we're so used to now having 60 FPS in all like the AAA games, right? Because they're cross-platform with the previous generation of consoles. But at some point, they're going to start releasing games that are specifically made for this, and they have like ray tracing and all that stuff. And I'm thinking, are there any of those coming out this year? And then I'm like, are there any PlayStation 5 or Xbox Series X exclusives coming out this year? And then I'm like, wait a minute, are there any more video games coming out this year?
Isn't Starfield scheduled for this year? It's going to be Series X only? In theory, yeah.
November,
I know.
Yeah, November. Yeah, November is slated apparently, but yeah. I mean, I do feel like there probably are like a bunch of games. I mean, there obviously will be some other games, but there'll definitely be the typical like end of year games. But it's just weird because you're right. Like in previous years, we would already have a degree of that visibility. You know, we'd be like, okay, cool. Like there's a Call of Duty coming in September, or like a Battlefield here, and like we got like X,
is there
a
Call of Duty coming this year, or did it get delayed?
I'm not sure. I'm not sure if it got delayed. I mean, like typically, like on like that would be what we'd look at like a normal yearly thing. But yeah, this year is like it's basically just beyond this point now. It's just silence. And obviously now that we know that E3 in its conventional form is no longer a thing. Obviously, Jeff Keighley's probably going to fill that void. So there'll obviously still be stuff around the E3 window. But yeah, right now it's just weird. It's just like short of Monster Hunter.
I think we're just we're in that place where you're waiting for the announcements to hit that are the E3 era, or like the time place of E3, because normally they're not going to announce it until the get hyped now in E3 and get ready for the winter release, or fall release. So I think that's kind of what's going on. But you're right. I mean, we're definitely now experiencing the COVID catch up.
Yeah.
Like the industry lost a good year, half a year at least, before they finally could figure things out to start developing again. So we're obviously going to feel it at some point, and I think this might be it.
Yeah.
And the biggest games I'm looking forward to right now are the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles side-scrolling beat 'em up.
Yeah.
And that cool Capcom Fighting Collection and the Cowabunga Collection. So 2 Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles games that I'm looking forward to. That's weird. I haven't felt like that since 1992.
And DNF Duel as well. That's the other fight. That's the
oh yes, I forgot about DNF Duel. That does look really fucking good.
That looks really cool.
Did you play that beta?
I didn't play the most recent one because I was away, but I played the previous week. It plays so good. Like I'm super excited for that one because for me, I'm someone that like growing up, I've always enjoyed fighting games, but I'm immensely average. In fact, I'm not even average. I'm below average at fighting games. I just enjoy them. Yeah, exactly. That is definitely me, and I accept that. Back in the days, I would have been like, no, I'm good at them. Like, no, I'm like there's no ego anymore. I'm just like I'm an average. Like I know
I'm getting worse.
Yeah, I definitely am. I feel like I'm getting worse. I'm like I know about games, so I can make videos and tell you about them, but I don't have the skills to do the thing all the time. So I'm like, it's fine. But that one's great because DNF Duel has like a really simplified button input system. It's much more akin to like Smash Brothers in that it's like very easy to pick up, but there is the degree of mastery there. So I feel like that one might actually be the one for me. And I like all the characters. Like normally, every time
the fighting game, characters are cool as hell.
Yeah, they look amazing, right? That's the thing. Is like I'm so used to with fighting games being like, there's a couple of characters that I really like. And invariably, they're the characters that I shouldn't use because they're too complicated. And it's like, go back to using this game's version of Ryu. And I'm like, okay. But this one, they all look super cool. And I can use any of them.
Awesome.
Yeah, it does seem pretty easy to kind of figure out a combo. Like, and then once you actually know what the combos are, like the combo routes, like somebody will put up a video and like, here's how to use Ghost Blades combos. And you'll be able to kind of like memorize them real quick. But what's crazy about it is like all the buttons go like full screen. Like 3/4 of the screen is taken up by like a simple button press. So it's like you always feel like you're doing cool shit like the entire time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that one I'm excited for.
When is that one coming out? I forgot. Is it this summer, right?
June 30th, basically like 3 days after Monster Hunter, which is again annoying because like, all the fighting games always get released close to a game I have to cover. They just don't want me to get good at fighting games. I feel like they know that I'm secretly a fighting game champion. They're just holding me back.
Holding you back.
Most fighting games too. It's like you kind of want to get in there like right away and like learn with the community, because if you try and jump in like 3 months down the line, then like everybody already knows what they're doing. Yeah. So it's a little harder to jump in. I think the exception to that are like the ones that like have like Street Fighters or Mortal Kombats that have like a longer tail to them, and there's constantly new people getting fed into the system.
Yeah. I feel like the only fighting game I was ever like slightly good at online, and I feel like I basically cheated, was Killer Instinct when it came out on Xbox One. Only because at the time I worked at Microsoft and I got to play it 3 months, basically every single day before it came out. I had a dev kit there and I just played it every day. So for the first like week, I was destroying people online, and then people got good again, and I was like, okay, now I'm just not going to play the game anymore. But for the first week, I was great. People couldn't beat my Jago. I had some nasty combos.
That game was cool because that was essentially a free to play game, right? That they released. It's like, and then you could buy the characters, almost like League of Legends, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, they had like DLC. Yeah, like League of Legends. Yeah.
Yeah, and they also had that. Yeah, they had the rotating thing where like, it was different, like free character each week, right? I guess, like League. Yeah. That's quite cool.
It looked really good too.
I actually recently I recently played Killer Instinct with my brother because he was, we were the same. Like not good by any means, but he would always beat me at a Street Fighter when I was younger, and so he's like, let's play some Killer Instinct, man, and he beat me. So he still has it. Yeah.
Okay.
He's been playing more though. He's been, practicing some Killer
What'd you
Instinct
think of it? It still looks good, right? Like it still
Killer
looks
Instinct
like
plays
good...
fantastic.
Yeah.
Yeah, it looks great. It plays great. It's a great fighting game. Like the combo system in that is excellent. I really like it. Like the way
I think that one was way better than the original that came out like in the 90s.
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, the combo system is more deeper, right?
Yeah.
The way
I think
it
just plays looser. Like it's got more. I felt like the first one played very stiff. You really had to do exactly what the game wanted.
I remember loving
the
first one.
I didn't put a lot of time in it either. So maybe I just don't know. I might be ignorant.
I remember getting super excited about the first one coming out on Super Nintendo. I bought on that, and then also got on the Nintendo 64 because I was like, I want to play this game. I want the arcade experience. They definitely weren't the arcade experience, but got me close. Yeah.
I thought the Nintendo 64 version was pretty good, though.
From what I remember, it felt pretty good. But then, like, I remember going to the arcade and being like, this is not the same.
Yeah. Arcade, it was like really loud and really cool looking. Like, it just looks futuristic.
Yeah. But yeah, the current one that you can play on the Xbox is fantastic.
Yeah, I think it's free, right? It's on Game Pass.
Pretty sure, yeah.
Pretty sure.
That'd be weird if it wasn't on Game Pass.
Then that Capcom Fighting Collection is coming out this summer as well. That has like the Darkstalkers games, Street Fighter, Super Special, Turbo. I don't remember which version, arcade, and then the Super Gem Fighters, which is like that chibi Street Fighter. Super fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm looking at the list of releases here on Game Informer. It says DNF Duel is coming out on the 28th of June. There's DLC type of stuff like Outriders World Slayer was announced. Supposedly that's coming out on June 30th. But aside from Starfield being marked for November 11th, there is not.
Yeah, Forspoken got delayed, right? That was a big one. Zelda got delayed.
I think they're still like they seem to be sort of like suggesting that God of War still is this year. At least that was kind of. I mean, yeah. So that'll be interesting.
I hope so.
Yeah.
But I haven't seen anything about it officially, right? It's like
that's the thing. Yeah.
It seems to be coming like the press must have some inside knowledge about it because I haven't seen anything official.
No, I mean
Bayonetta 3 is that coming out this year?
I think it's supposed to. Yeah, but like that's yeah. I guess the only thing that maybe because I mean a lot of these companies are trying to do these shorter marketing stints anyway. So like I guess if God of War, like if we saw like the gameplay trailer in like E3 window, then maybe end of year might be viable.
That's what I'm looking at. Like I think E3 is going to have a bunch of announcements, and they're going to try to fill up the calendar year with that stuff. And I think long marketing campaigns fatigue consumers more so than they get them excited, unless the game is phenomenal.
Yeah.
How about Hollow Knight Silksong? Is that still supposed to come out this year?
No, they've just gone quiet on that. That's the weirdest one.
That got delayed.
Yeah, even when every time there's like a new Nintendo Direct, everyone's like, "Oh, we gonna even like see anything about it?" And they're just like, "Nope, nothing."
Mm-hmm.
Hogwarts Legacy, I think, is coming out this year, right? They've started putting press out about that.
Yeah,
but I'm not really interested in it, to be honest with you. So it's not going to affect my life at all. Yeah, man, it's
it's a weird time. It's like going back to what you were saying before about like the exclusives like PS5 and stuff like that as well. Like I was at like a family party this weekend, and obviously I was like chatting to people, and they normally come to me to ask about like gaming stuff, and it's weird. Like normally people are like, "Oh, should I get this new console?" I'm like, "Yeah, there's some great games on it." And he was like asking about PS5, and I'm like, I mean, apart from the fact you can't buy one right now, I'm just like, there's no point buying one. I'm like, there's literally no point, and like that just sounds weird for me to say, but I'm just like, look. Because of all these delays and because of all like there's like not really many things that are exclusive on there right now. I'm just like, you might as well just wait until like next year because it's just not you're gonna play like one game on it and then
I mean, unless they're like unless they're a Destiny player, like, or maybe you play the latest Call of Duty all the time, you want the best graphics, like, there's not a huge reason to jump in right away.
I would say that the PlayStation, Demon Souls, Returnal, and Ratchet and Clank make a pretty strong. Like, hey, these are pretty good games, but that's only 3 games, and maybe like 2 out of the 3 don't like hit you.
And I still feel like I think about to me as well. Like when I mean, obviously everyone has different games they enjoy the most of that, but I think back to like when I used to like when I was growing up, it would always be what's the game that will sell me on this console, and I think to myself like Demon Souls is incredible, but I'm just like if I was not a content creator, not making content, I was just like a kid, and obviously I use like my pocket money to buy the console. I'm like, would I buy a console for like Demon's Souls alone? Would I buy it for Ratchet and Clank? I'm like, probably not. Like I feel like for me personally, I don't feel like I've seen the system seller on PS5 just yet.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
For me personally,
well, especially when they're coming out with like cross-generation games, where most of the games are coming out on PS4, and like Horizon Forbidden West, God of War, if those are both, Horizon obviously was, but if God of War is also a cross-gen game, like that makes it harder to pony up that $500 for the new system.
Yeah, it's. I think what's weird is we're in this generational thing where it's not about you have access to these new games now. It's more of you have access to a higher quality version of the game visually.
Yeah,
and like I
don't remember this ever happening before, to be honest.
No, I think this is the future. Also, is like at a certain point, it's not like you have these huge jumps in what the games can technically do. It's more visuals now, visuals and like AI type of stuff, or systems computing type of things. So I think we're gonna just get used to that. Like, oh, you got the latest version of the PlayStation that gives you the 4K 120 now, as opposed to 4K 60.
Maybe that's what they'll do in the future. Stop like PlayStation still brands their consoles like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Xbox stopped doing that. Their stuff is a little more money, but maybe they're actually on the right track because there is no real distinction between an Xbox One, an Xbox One X, an Xbox Series S, and an Xbox Series X, because you can play all the same games on them. It's just the amount of money you want to spend on the hardware and like the fidelity of the graphics that you're going to get out of it. But you're going to be able to play all the same games.
So this literally just happened to my brother yesterday. He was like, he set up a flight stick for Microsoft Flight Simulator, and he has a 1X. All right.
Yeah, your brother sounds dope, man. He plays Street Fighter and he's got a flight stick.
He's got a Dodge Viper. He's got, like
what? Your brother's my spirit animal.
So he wanted to play with the flight stick, and he has a 1X, and he's like, okay, so like it has to do the streaming thing. And he's like, the stick's not working, but it works on the computer. I don't know what's going on. I was like, oh, maybe because it's streaming. Can you just play it on the console? He's like, it won't let me download it. I'm like, huh? And it's like, so he goes the thing, and it says, sorry, you can't download it. You need a Series X. And he's like, isn't this the X model? I'm like, no, you have a 1X. He's like, what? No. Which one do I need? I said, you need a Series X. And that's what I have. He's like, no. What the hell is a 1X Series X? And I was like, oh man, we talk about this all the time on the podcast. The horrible naming conventions of Xbox.
It's so confusing. I think it's worse than the Wii U, to be honest with you, because there's so many. It's like letter spaghetti in there. It's like you don't even know what's going on. I don't know. Whatever. Like
it's extremely confusing because he was like, "Don't I have the console to play this locally?" I was like, "No, you need a Series X." He's like, "I have an X. What the? It's an Xbox X. What the?"
So Flight Simulator doesn't play on the One X. I'm actually surprised. Oh, he can play it, but
you have to stream it. Yeah, which he's fine with that with the streaming stuff, but he wanted to use the stick, and the stick wasn't working with the streaming version.
It does genuinely surprise me though when you think about it. It's like because when we were sort of speaking before the show, we were just about like other things like Adobe Premiere, like who makes these like decisions and stuff. But you think like Xbox again, there's got to be a board of people that like a company that creates operating systems and like is all about the user experience and making things in theory as easy as possible. I mean, I know sometimes their operating system layouts haven't been the best, but as a company that has that heritage, like who thought the naming convention makes sense? Like who again sat down and was like, surely there is going to be no.
It was confusing from the get-go.
Yeah,
like, right away it was confusing
because they went Xbox
you
and
already
then
have an
360
Xbox
and then
One X. Yeah. Oh yeah. Like we already had an Xbox.
Yeah. Xbox.
Now, what do you call that? You're gonna.
But I
that's why for a while I was just calling the Xbox 4.
Yeah.
But I think I just forgot about it.
But I just really want to know like who's in the meeting who's like, there is no way someone is going to walk into a shop and get confused between an Xbox One X and a Series X. It's
not
probably
possible. The guy who got fired from Apple for calling it the iPad over and over again. Oh, it's the new iPad. The new iPad,
Oh,
this one's the new one now. The iPad.
I'm gonna blame Major Nelson. I bet it was him.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that guy.
It's so silly though. Like witnessing it firsthand, like with my brother trying to play a game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was like, this is the problem. It's the problem with this naming convention. At least with the PS5, it's the latest one.
Yeah, it's very evident. It's very clear. I wish PS5 would get their backward compatibility going a little simpler because it's going to be, I think, really confusing with their new online service, like which games that you can actually put in and stuff. But, I mean, that's probably a minute part of the gaming culture.
Well, we have DLCs, I guess, to look forward to. I guess.
I only want to hear about Elden Ring DLC. Like, is it going to happen when?
Well, that's what I was thinking. Like, do you guys think we'll
like
see
too.
Elden Ring DLC this year? Because I mean, like, what was it? What was?
No,
yeah, I
don't think so.
No, I hope we hear about something.
Okay.
Yeah,
but wasn't for like Dark Souls 3? Wasn't like there wasn't a timeline relatively soon off? Wasn't it something like 5-6 months off launch, or was it not?
I feel like it's usually a year later they drop a DLC.
Oh, okay.
Typically. Because it gets people excited to go through it again, and then we need a Bloodborne remaster because I opened up Bloodborne again,
man.
And I was like, man, this game would be amazing with high fidelity graphics like they did with Demon Souls. Just playing through again, I was like, ugh.
I would be happy with just a remaster that brings it up to 60 FPS. Like I don't even need the full blown Dark Souls remaster. Like just a revision that gives it like a stable frame rate.
I don't know. After playing Elden Ring and then loading it up and seeing the low fidelity graphics, I was like, it'd be nice to have this updated, better, lighting system and all that.
Yeah, it is. It's a sub 1080p game too, right? It doesn't run natively at 1080p.
I actually don't know. Yeah, because I know things have shifted a bit, but it doesn't look super nice in comparison to Elden Ring.
Right? It looked pretty nice when it came out, though.
Yeah. True. I mean, it's obviously playable. Clearly, you can play Bloodborne, no problem. Except for Briar.
I'd be really interested to see, though. Right? I'd be super interested to see, like, how many people would pick it up. Like, obviously, aside from the existing fan base of, like, people that want to go back and replay it, like, I'd be very, very interested to see what, after Elden Ring, FromSoftware do next, and then how that like affects it. Because you think about it, they've always had that reputation of being like the very, very difficult games that a lot of people. There's always that discourse that comes up like, these games are nobody can play them. It's like they should have an easy mode X, Y, and Z. And like it's always been a barrier to entry for a lot of people. So it's always been although they've been successful, it's still been niche in the grand scheme of things. And then suddenly Elden Ring comes along and like millions of people are playing it. So I would be very interested to see like whatever they do next afterwards, whether whether it be Bloodborne remaster or like the thing that follows Elden Ring. Will they be able to carry that, or will suddenly people be like, oh, this next one is tough again? Like I don't like this.
Yeah, that's a good point. Like, will it all the fans they picked up during Elden Ring? Will it
Yeah.
kind of will they lose those right off the bat?
Especially
But
if they go
I
back.
actually don't want FromSoftware to do it. I just want like Blue Point to do it again. I want like an exact like just do the same shit you did with Dark Souls, or I'm sorry, Demon Souls. That shit was awesome. You killed it. And I don't know. I feel like the rep for Dark Souls and for Bloodborne is a lot more hardcore than those games actually are. Like once you get in there, Bloodborne less so than the Dark Souls games, but you can actually like they start off hard, but you can actually, if you work at it a little bit, level up your character to make it much less difficult. Right?
Yeah.
Like Bloodborne, I feel like stays pretty hard. And I think Sekiro is just, fuck you, difficult. I'm not.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, I found that to be extremely difficult.
Really? Wow. The parry system just made it so forgiving for me. Elden Ring has sold over 12 million copies in 3 weeks.
Oh yeah, it's like one of the top sellers. It's like up there with like a GTA game or Red Dead Redemption, like as far as like first month sales go.
Absolutely,
yeah, it's a massive hit. Like it's beyond FromSoftware. It's like way bigger than anything they've ever done.
Like that's got to be nerve-wracking to be like, now what's your follow-up after you've had these like very successful games in the past, but they're also relatively niche audiences, and then all of a sudden you have something that this is really like striking mainstream gamers because of the number of sales.
The answer is obvious. It's Kingsfield.
Well, because it's interesting because we see sort of a similar kind of thing when you think about it with like Monster Hunter World, right? That is the one that like finally like put Monster Hunter on the map for like a lot of people.
True, yeah.
And then interestingly, following World, you had that kind of period of time where people are like, oh, I like this now. Let me try and discover the series. So you have people kind of going back, which is why I was sort of drawing the parallels between like people maybe going back and trying Bloodborne, and then people went to try and play older Monster Hunter games and were like, oh, this feels weird. But then obviously also fast forward to things like Rise, which obviously was still like a fantastic game. It was fun, but it just didn't do the same as World. So like there was a degree of people that were like, this just like flopped, or they've seen it that way. Like I don't deem it a flop. I think it was still like a great game, but comparatively, if people held World as the standard, so like now, it's like after Elden Ring, I guess it's a similar sort of thing as well to like Breath of the Wild, right? Like Breath of the Wild 2 has got to smash it out of the park because Breath of the Wild is so phenomenal. Like it's hard to follow that stuff.
Yeah.
What's incredible about Breath of the Wild specifically, though, is I feel like that game came out and really had some revolutionary ideas, but also had some people think they're big flaws, right? Other people don't think they're big flaws, I guess. So, but there are some like points at which I think there was some pushback to that game that I feel like are super easy to fix. Like putting some actual dungeons in that game would have, I think, improved the reception. The reception was almost perfect, critically. Okay, but I think once the game, the general game public got it in their hands, the reception was a little less enthusiastic. I mean, some people think that game could do no wrong, and that's fine. If that's your favorite game, I get it. It's a really good game. But other people, like the dungeons weren't all I wanted them to be. The open world, while it was vast and it was like amazing to explore, I don't know. I feel like Elden Ring took that theme, that open world kind of style, and really ran with it. They kind of perfected it, and I really didn't like the weapons. Like the weapon system. I really like to see a second pass at the weapon system.
Yeah, I think that's all.
But I think they can with Breath of the Wild too. That's why it's one of my most anticipated games. Is that they revolutionized open world games, and now they have the second shot at it. I can't wait to see what like revision 2 of that is going to be, because fuck.
I think what's interesting is Elden Ring has once again revolutionized open world games with what they've been able to achieve with the size and all that. And with Zelda, I don't think about going back and replaying Zelda to relive those moments. I had a great time going back, or I had a great time playing it initially and discovering and finding all the gear and going through what they had to offer on there. But I don't think about going back to that game to replay it. Elden Ring, I definitely want to relive experiences that I had exploring in that game. And
I think part of that is content, though, right? It's like some of that content is just it's going to be more suited to certain people. Like some people are going to really like the Zelda style of content, and some people are going to really like the Elden Ring style of content. Like, like
for me, it comes down to build
brutality and stuff like that.
Because I went through the game with a certain type of build, and I know that I could experience the game in a different way, going just like do a magic build now, or you know what I mean?
That's
like
true too.
Re-experiencing also certain bosses I fought later than I should have, so they were easier. And some bosses, like the first boss, I fought right away, and it was a son of a bitch.
It almost turned you off the game.
Yeah, it really put me off at the very beginning. I was like, man, I had a completely different experience from it. So I don't know. There's something really alluring about what Elden Ring was able to bring forward, because like the lore is so rich and all that, and I think that could potentially mark a shift in the landscape of what it means to make open world games.
I mean, I feel like what FromSoftware did with Elden Ring is they really took the Zelda Breath of the Wild playbook and just dipped it in Dark Souls butter. We're gonna fill this world with everything, and we're gonna let you just explore, just like you did in Breath of the Wild. Except everything you find is gonna be Dark Souls shit.
Yeah,
and it was awesome.
Yeah,
for sure.
That's why I'm hoping that, given, I mean, obviously I know it's still quite far in development now anyway, but I'm hoping, given that they have delayed to next year, I hope they take some learnings back from Elden Ring, because if you could take you take the obvious things that were missing from the first one, add some dungeons in, do the pass and some of the stuff like that, but then also take some of the, because I think that's the thing. I'm definitely one of those people that I hold Breath of the Wild in such a high regard. It is one of my favorite games, and there'll be some things that a lot of people maybe won't like, that I'm just I'm blind to it. It's Nintendo. I love it. It's fine. But at the same time, even though I can look back and I've got all those fond memories, you can definitely sort of hold it side by side with Elden Ring and be there's definitely some things where Elden Ring took that sense of wonderment and just dialed it up tenfold, because some of those areas that I was literally gobsmacked, when you kind of drop down into Noxtella and you go to the underground cities and stuff, and you're just oh my goodness, if Breath of the Wild can do that and have those moments, that. I hope they do it, and it becomes literally the best game I've ever played.
Yeah.
So,
I hope so too, man. I'm 100% on board with that. I want Zelda to be as good as it was. That's not a fair statement, because new Zelda games are much better than Zelda games when I was a kid. But I wish they were as
you want the discovery,
mind-boggling. Yeah, the Link to the Past and the original Zelda, to me, were just the first time you ever seen an open world like this, and exploration like this, and just unbridled, just this huge world. And the Zelda series got so restrictive and so handholdy, and then Breath of the Wild came out and just completely changed all that. But there's just a couple of things I didn't personally dig about it. I can't wait. I can't wait till the next Breath of the Wild. That's for sure. I can't wait.
I'm very much so looking forward to it.
Do you remember in Breath of the Wild, the first time you saw that dragon, in the sky, flying around that lake area? I was like, holy shit! There's so many times like that. The discovery in that game was really amazing, and the anti-Ubisoft points on a map everywhere just allow me to just wander and find this shit, and not have this 17-hour Zelda style tutorial zone. It was such a refreshing Zelda game to me. It really was.
I loved it.
Especially that first 6 hours, I thought were just fantastic. And then there's one of those big robot whatever things right at the beginning, so you realize, oh shit, this place is fucking dangerous.
Then
that game is fantastic.
I actually really
sometimes I focus on the negative with that game, but now that I think about it, it really was fantastic.
And it was also handheld. It was on the Switch.
Yeah, good point. And you could do amiibos and cheat. No amiibos in Elden Ring, my friend.
That's what the announcement is at E3. FromSoftware announces amiibos coming into
amiibos. It's coming to the Switch.
That's how you get your summons.
FPS. Yeah, summon.
Yes. You get a mimic summon.
I'm gonna summon Mario to kill more.
I would buy a mimic summon, man. Me and that dude went through some shit. Do you remember back in the day you used to be able to get a company to 3D print your World of Warcraft character?
Oh,
you remember that?
I never got it done, but I always wanted to.
I never got it done either, but I think I would do it for my Elden Ring character. Because I feel like I've been through some shit with that guy. And essentially, I'd be 3D printing my mimic, right?
Yeah. True.
Maybe I should get a 3D printer and just do it myself. That'd be so
you should
badass.
get into the 3D printing market. Then you can open up an Etsy and 3D print people's characters for them.
Oh my god, I would just send dicks everywhere.
What is this? I ordered my Elden Ring character.
Oh dear.
Well, anything? Oh, actually, there was DLCs that came out. There was the Tiny Tina DLC that came out. New.
Have you played that yet, Tefty?
So okay. The crossplay was supposed to work. We were on the friends list, and then it would never actually send a message to come to be able to join up. Yeah. So the crossplay to date for me has not worked. Period. And that really.
So you guys haven't started it at all?
No, we started separately, and then I was like, I really want to play this game with memes. Bummed out about that. I got a little bit further into it, but yeah, I've enjoyed what I've played so far. But I pumped the brakes because Elden Ring was deep in my mind still. I was like, I can't be playing these games with the shadow of Elden Ring everywhere.
It was Elden Ring cast such a big shadow. It was so tough to play anything else.
Yeah, but I'm looking forward to playing more of it. But yeah, I know that there was a DLC that came out with that. And there's also some No Man's Sky stuff that they keep. Like No Man's Sky just keeps evolving.
Man, yeah, there's hunters from Destiny running around in there with capes on.
Really?
Yeah.
This is like the pirate one where it's like bounties and like I haven't actually looked into all the details, but it's like seems to be like the underground one where you can like run like pirate rings and just like do like piratey stuff. It's like Sea of Thieves but in space.
Yeah.
I haven't pulled out my VR headset in probably 6 or 8 months at this point, and maybe it's time to pull that out and get back into No Man's Sky, because that shit, man, was stupid good in VR. Flying that ship around in VR? Oh my god.
That does sound enticing.
It was good. You sit down in that ship and you just like take off and you're like, whoa, this is amazing. You get in a dogfight and you're like, whoa. It was good. It was good, man. It was super immersive. The walking around on the planet part wasn't as good, to be honest with you.
Just
the ship flying was really cool.
Yeah. So yeah, there's stuff. Definitely stuff out there. I hope E3 brings a lot of good news and exciting things. I mean, E3.
I mean, there is no E3.
Yeah. The season of E3.
Yeah.
Jeff Keighley will just spread it across 3 months.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, he just kind of says, when do you want to do it, right? And I'll host it for you. Is that what he does? I mean, it seems like from the outside looking in.
Yeah.
Let's make sure that we don't do 2 on the same night, so you guys get a little bit of kind of
breathing
room to breathe. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, he made out big time when they canceled E3.
Because I mean, if he gets the monopoly on both, like he runs the Game Awards show and then E3, like he'll just be like he'll be the gaming Elon Musk and just go and buy other companies. Maybe that's the big play. He's waiting for the companies to buy other companies, like Microsoft to acquire things and Sony, and then he's gonna be like, I'm gonna buy everyone.
Yeah, Jeff's gonna announce buying E3 and revamping.
Oh, did you hear that Ubisoft might be getting bought?
I heard the rumors that maybe, like wasn't it like was it Sony or no? Is Sony supposedly acquiring them, right? Or was it Microsoft?
Rumors that Sony might do it. Also rumors that there's a couple of investment firms that are thinking about doing it. So who knows at this point? But
they're excited about those NFT
might be in need of new management
transactions. The NFTs.
It's gonna be a weird. It's gonna be like a really weird year. Like with all these acquisitions and stuff, at the end of the year, it'll be like, what is left? Is everyone like all these people with a load of money is playing like gaming Monopoly right now?
Yeah,
it's all the NFT bros with all their money. 2
video game companies and a bunch of indie devs, which to make sense. I mean, based on how much money it costs to make like a AAA video game now, like it, it makes sense that you need a lot of money. You need a big corporation to back you up to make one of these things. And the indie devs, are really focusing on smaller, lo-fi experiences, but they're still super fun. So
yeah, what's interesting is you wouldn't think of Epic as being a company that is trying to facilitate like higher fidelity indie stuff, but they're doing a phenomenal job with Unreal Engine. Like Unreal Engine 5 came out recently, and the tools available to like basically small development teams, like a solo developer or 2, 3, or 5 developers, is really astounding of what's possible now with Unreal Engine 5. And like they added the nanite technology and the Quixel bridge and all that, so all the Quixel mega scans are available to like
was that like in-game assets that they can
yeah,
use?
so in fact, a lot of games like, say, Horizon Forbidden West would use these assets that are high-resolution scans of landscapes or rocks or trees or things that you want to look good. But if you were to go out and have to do it yourself, you'd dump a ton of time in proper scanning and all that. So they've been so Quixel has been building this library, and then they partnered with Unreal Engine or Epic. So anybody who uses Unreal Engine now on Unreal Engine 5, they can download these nanite versions of these high resolution scans and put them in your game, and it looks like you have big money spent on recreating digital assets when really you just downloaded and put them in your game. So
that's
kind of amazing. It's actually remarkable what's going to happen in the next, like, say, 5 years of indie devs getting their hands on this stuff and then just being able to make things that look ridiculous. Like movie level visuals are going to be coming to small indie teams. Yeah,
that's exciting.
Yeah, that's really cool.
Yeah, really cool. And you can download Unreal Engine for free. You can make a game with it for free until you make over 100 grand.
If you make less than 100 grand, then you don't have to pay a license fee.
Yeah, so you don't really think of Epic that way, but Epic is pretty amazing for wanting to spread that technology as much as possible to smaller devs,
Epic's another one of those companies. So like, I kind of don't know what to think about. Like their online store is like, they're fighting Apple about like the cost of putting stuff on the Apple Store and in-game purchases, and they're up against Steam, and everybody hates the Epic Store, but they started paying developers more money than Steam was. Made Steam, compete with that. Like,
yeah,
I don't know, these Fortnite guys. Maybe they're not so bad.
Maybe they're not the villain after all.
It seems really complicated, right?
Yeah.
So any developers out there interested, you should look up Unreal Engine stuff. It's really fascinating, especially with that nanite technology. Because again, like you have high resolution scans that have like millions of pixels or the vertices and all that in there, and the nanite technology makes it so you don't technically have to optimize those assets. Like the engine knows how to properly scale level of detail, which that's a huge time sink if you're not using that technology, because like you have to make multiple versions of the same asset for level of detail. So if you're making a tree, you got to make 4 versions of the tree. So obviously your development time exponentially expands with that. But the nanite technology and the lighting and all that is like circumventing a lot of that with Unreal Engine. It's really amazing. So
the next generation of video games is going to be really fucking hot.
Yeah. Yes, it is. Anything else?
What the heck is that?
Is Eric's still here with us? Eric's here.
It looks like somebody just smeared Eric's across the screen.
Yeah. I think Eric's is getting disconnected across the Atlantic bundle cable.
Oh no. I can hear you guys, but I think it's gone.
I think that's the show, right? Is there anything else to talk about this week?
I'm sure there is. I mean, news is kind of quiet these days.
Yeah. Yep. All right. Well, that is SideQuest. Thank you so much for tuning in and hanging out. We appreciate it. Shout out to our Patreon members and our Twitch subs for supporting the shows. I believe a firing range is happening this week, we think. If not,
I believe so.
Obviously, Twitter will tell you. So yeah, thanks for watching. We'll see you next week. Bye, everyone.
Look forward to Watts' new cookbook, Basting Buddies.
Basting Buddies. Basting Briar. Bye, guys.
See you later.